Hey, Patreons and everybody. Welcome back to the Spotlight. This is, of course, our show where we talk to our heroes in pop culture, actors, writers, directors, comic book folks, etc. And boy, have we got a great show for you here today. These wonderful guys reached out to us after our recent conversation with Rick Worthy, and I could not be more psyched to have Robert Duncan McNeill and Garrett Wang from Star Trek Voyager in.
Incorrect.
You had it right the first time.
Oh, you had the wrong one first time.
That's what
You
happens with
see?
that optical illusion
The
when you're
optical
did it.
reading.
illusion.
It's because you
reading your
said it,
intro.
Garrett. That's what threw me off.
Exactly.
That's what threw me off. But oh my gosh,
You know
yes.
what? I'm going to start going by Garrett Wing, like the wing of a bird, W-I-N-G,
Right.
just to completely
Nobody can pronounce
confuse
that wrong.
everybody. Yeah.
It's
How do you,
completely
Garrett? How
impossible.
do you say it in Chinese? What is the
Wang.
Wang?
Yeah. So it's
Wang.
not Wang.
With that
which is
inflection?
Wang. Yeah, it
Instead
goes
of
down a deep, yeah.
Wang.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Does it do a when you used to do the?
It goes down and then up. It goes
Up
Wang,
and
like a soup
Wang.
spoon. Wang.
Like a bounce.
It's a
Boy.
bounce. You say.
Yeah, because in
Because the-
Chinese we did
there's
this
four
on our
tones.
podcast. We
Yeah.
did a language lesson the
Yeah.
first couple of years.
I remember.
And Garrett would do Chinese, and
Yeah.
so we learned about the flat
Tones. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
tones.
So tone
exactly.
number
That's the
one
word.
Tones are
would be
very important.
Wang. If tone one, Wang. Tone two goes middle up, Wang, and then tone three is the right tone, Wang. It dips, and tone four is abrupt, Wang. So it's Wang, 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 and I'm the Wang, the third.
Okay.
Which
I
means
am-
Now
king it.
people are gonna know. You
I
said
am
it enough.
thusly
Wang.
educated. This
Wang.
is fantastic.
Now
I
you
love it.
know.
How do you say McNeill with a Chinese dialect tone?
McNeill, or something like that.
McNeill?
You gotta separate all.
McNeill?
Everything gets separated.
McNeill.
Like for instance, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, you mean with a tone? Yeah.
With a tone. I'm wondering
Be-
what's the best tone. I want a Chinese
With
tone
Chinese
for
tone?
mine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, if you
for
do
my
the third
name.
tone, it'd be
Yeah.
McNeill, which is kind of weird. You go McNeill, 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 McNeill. So how do
So
you?
you can
like
always say it wrong, no matter
With
what.
the last one, abrupt.
Yeah, I like-
McNeill. Then it'd be
Yeah,
McNeill.
very-
I like
I want
that.
to be very abrupt.
That feels Scottish to me. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, let's
go
go
ahead.
with that.
Sorry.
Oh my God. Oh, we are already out of control over here. But at any rate,
Yeah.
these two wonderful gentlemen, of course, for 7 years, were with us on Star Trek Voyager. Tom Paris and
Harry
Captain Harry Kim.
What? You
Captain.
promoted me?
Yes,
I
he's
did.
promoted.
Wow.
We'll talk a little bit more about that
Thanks.
later.
Thank you.
No, but guys, I was an OG fan. I was a hardcore Trekker. I was in college when Voyager came on, so I watched it very prodigiously. I stopped for a little while in season 3 and came back when I thought the show started to get really great.
Aw.
But for the last 5 years ish, you guys
Yeah.
have been doing the Delta Flyers. I listened every week. I was a Patreon, enjoying all that
Aw,
extra
thank you.
content, learning all about the show. And now you guys are here with us, and of course Peter is here as well. Sorry if you're not watching.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Hi, I like your outfit. For those
Yeah.
that can't see, he's wearing a Tom Paris outfit and a Delta Flyers background.
I know, and me, yeah, he's hey, look, I wore the badge. That's all. I'm a very busy guy. No, I'm just kidding.
Is he in the cockpit of the Delta Flyer itself?
Looks
Is
like
that
it
what
to
is?
me. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I
He's
designed
sitting in
it. I
front of
should
where
know.
Tom would
Yeah,
be,
you
so
should
Tom would say,
know.
"Hey,
I
get the
think
hell
I'm
out of the way!
leaning
I'm trying
on
to fly
the
the ship."
console, so like we're probably
leaning-
doing barrel rolls and
Yeah.
we're about
Right.
to have
He's gonna
problems
spill his
happen.
coffee
but-
on that to be like, "Hey, come on, no food or beverage in the cockpit."
Peter, you just ejected the warp core. I know
Oh.
you did.
Dang it!
It's a problem because the
Can't get
buttons
back
have
to
no
the
labels. You
ship
don't know what you're doing.
now. Crap.
Oh my gosh, you guys are making this tough for me.
Yeah,
I
we-
know.
But let's get it rolling. Like, I mean, I would say because there's two of you, and I know that we don't have 3 hours. I would love you do. Robbie, I've heard, and Garrett, I both heard tons about kind of how you got started in the business. But let's start with you, Garrett. How did you get started in entertainment? What's your Reader's
Wow.
Digest version of how you got into the business?
Yes, very quickly. I went to college at UCLA pre-med, intending on going to medical school and then advanced training and being an anesthesiologist, the doctor that knocks you out before surgeries.
Oh yes.
And then that went down the tubes, and I took a theater class at UCLA and just fell in love with just the whole process. And all my friends in the theater department said, don't become a theater major because you're going to be used as forced labor. You always have to do like
You
stage
work the
builds.
crew.
Yeah, you be
Exactly.
crew. Stage lighting 101, you light the main stage. And so they charge people to come watch the main stage, and they don't pay you to build the set or do any of that. So they said, don't do that. So I got a full conservatory training at UCLA.
Wow.
And yes, and when I told my parents I was going to go and not go to med school, they lost it. And they just, it was difficult. But I prevailed. I stuck with my guns. Oh, that was my phone. Sorry. I stuck with my guns, and I really, really made sure. Is that mine? Wow. Sorry, guys. I'm binging all over the place. If that's
Man, if they had these kind of
Bing
troubles on
bong,
the
bing
bridge of
bong.
Voyager, you
know.
guys
I
never would have gotten
know.
You know
home.
what I think
He's-
it is? I think I'm not.
He's got a computer
have
talking
stir-
to him, just like on
did.
on Voyager.
We're hearing you fine. Your levels look good to me, Garrett.
No, it's not. So I'm not binging. I don't get it. This is really weird. Okay.
Huh.
I'm silent right now, but I kept hearing over and
Oh.
over. So maybe that was someone else's.
We'll just
phone.
make sure everybody has their
Maybe.
phone turned off.
Okay.
I'll just in post. I'll
you
just
know-
put some random
just take it off.
hologram doing weird things.
Listen,
behind
I'm
you.
still in active duty with Starfleet, and I could be called at any moment for service
Right.
to
The
the
Borg are back.
Federation.
Again.
Yes,
How did they come back?
I know. Well,
Guys.
Garrett and I both have been called back to service for Lower Decks.
Yeah.
We did.
I
We did
know.
get called back.
Oh,
yeah.
we miss Lower Decks.
I
Just
know.
so you know,
I do.
Robbie
You
goes
guys-
through these phases where he believes it's all real, and I have to go with it. I just have to go. Yes, we have a duty shift later, Tom.
Yes.
We're gonna go ahead and we'll be fine. Yeah,
Balana's expecting me back
Balana's
after that
expecting me
duty
back
shift.
afterwards.
Captain
Yeah.
Proton. Yes, non
Yes,
smile.
yes.
Non smile.
That's it. So I just got into acting on my own. Really, my parents were not in the business. They were not happy that I chose this career, but I persevered. I stuck with it, and I got on the darn show. And at my first day meeting Robbie, I was absolutely floored because I'm a massive fan of Masters of the Universe with
Who
Dolph
isn't?
Lundgren and Robbie starring in that. So when I saw him, it was kind of like seeing one of my heroes in a way. I was like, oh my God. Like I literally had to use every ounce of my energy to just push down my
Just
fanboy.
stamp it down.
Because I knew if I really acted the way I wanted to, he would probably never talk to me again.
Oh.
You were a
Like I was some
stalker.
weirdo.
I think you were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
He would call me weirdo guy, and I would have never had a So it is what it is.
and
So-
you became friends for life. I keep wanting to call you Robbie, but I don't know you personally.
Yeah,
Is
you
that
do.
cool?
Yeah.
All
Please
right.
do. If
Well,
you
Robbie-
don't, if you call me Robert, I'm going to think I'm in trouble. That's what
Oh my
mom
God.
told-
Yeah, because I remember hearing on the show, Robert Picardo was Bob, and I've met him a couple times on the cruise. He is a
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, he
I've
is.
never met Robert Beltran, but he was
Oh.
was
He
he
was
Robert?
Robert. He went
And
by
then
Robert.
you're Robbie.
Yeah, so it worked out. It worked out.
Gotcha.
By the
tell me-
way,
yeah.
back to our Chinese tones.
Yes, please.
When my mother would get angry at me and call me, she would go, Robert, like that.
Robert?
Robert.
She went
Robert.
low and up.
So the low and
Robert.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
just
Robbie, you're,
bringing it back. Bringing it
You're
back.
from Atlanta, as I recall. And
I was born in North Carolina, grew up mostly in Atlanta, but we moved a lot, like Garrett did. He moved a
Yes.
lot. growing up.
right.
We have
And
that.
then you studied acting, obviously, and you went on to New York. And I don't need to tell your story, but you also
No,
have
tell
quite a
me. I
story.
love how you tell it.
Oh God. Oh geez. Now I'm on the spot. Hell no. No, you tell me, please.
Then, after
I'll-
working for 3 years in New York as a Chippendales dancer,
Okay,
I want to
now
hear that
then-
story.
They say
That's a
anybody can
great
write in
story.
Wikipedia. That's actually what's in there. I think Garrett was in there. I see the notes. He was in there
Yeah.
20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Oh, he was
Um,
popular.
I moved around a lot as a kid, and when we moved to Atlanta, I was probably 7th grade or something like that. And my little sister was taking tap and ballet classes for 3-year-olds, that kind of thing. And my mom came home we had just moved to that part of the world, and she came home and she said, "Hey, there's a flyer for the Wizard of Oz. They need a bunch of munchkins for this children's theater." And I was thinking, my mom goes, if you did this play, there'd be so many kids. You'd meet, it's a great way to meet a lot of kids really quickly. And I was like, sure, I don't know. I wasn't really interested, but I wasn't against it. I said,
Yeah.
okay. And then the day came for the audition, And my mom said, "Hey, you have to go in. There's an audition." I was like, "No, never mind. I don't want to do it." And she said,
I don't audition.
I don't. Yes, call my agent. But
Oh, my agent.
I said, no, I changed my mind. I don't want to do it. And she goes, "No, you made a commitment. I signed your name up for an appointment. You have to keep your promises." And I'm so glad my mother did,
She mommed you.
because I wouldn't have gone. I wasn't really interested, to be honest. And I was a little intimidated and scared. I'd
Weren't
never
you more
seen
of
a
an-
play.
Right, and also more of an introvert at that point in time in
Yeah,
your life.
yeah, I was
correct?
very introverted. I think
Yeah.
moving around, I was
Yeah.
extremely introverted, to be honest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Feel that one.
yeah, so she made me go, and I got there, and they were like, "Do you have a song for us?" I was like, "No." and the lady goes, who became a good friend, Martha Edens is her name.
Yeah.
She was the director, and I'm still in touch with her.
That's
The
awesome.
children's
Awesome.
theater teacher.
Oh my God.
And Martha said to me, "Well, do you know the song Happy Birthday? Could you sing that?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. Okay."
Yeah.
So the piano player played Happy Birthday, and I sang the song. And she had me read a couple lines from, the play or something. And they cast everybody. It's not like they weren't going to cast
Yeah, right.
it. But-
Everybody but Robert Duncan, you're out of here.
Yeah. Everybody
Sorry,
got a
kid, you didn't make
part.
the cut.
Partially because everybody that was in the play had to sell like 50 tickets or something. And so they wanted everybody to sell
It was a scam.
It was a scam. You had to sell tickets.
My
And you had
children's
to sell-
theater thing did that too.
Oh my God, it's everywhere.
You had to sell tickets, and you had to sell ads in the program.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's how I started my career after
Yeah, we
college,
did that
selling
too.
print advertising.
Didn't
So
know it was
I know that
everywhere.
scam.
Yeah, it's a scam.
So
Yeah.
you guys
Anyway.
were salesmen, young salespeople
Yes.
as well. Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
And-
But the funny thing, Robbie, is now I'm thinking that every kid that came up, she just said, "What's your name? Okay, you're hired." And then you come up and you go, "What's your name? Okay, can you sing the song?" And she put you through this whole gauntlet. She's like,
Maybe, I don't
"Oh,
know.
stand on one foot and hop on and do that."
Oh,
Like,
I think Data did that in an episode of Star Trek. That
Yeah,
is-
it did.
yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I got
Oh
in.
my goodness.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history. You moved. I know you were. You said Masters of the Universe. You were on a soap. I'm going to say Days of Our Lives.
All my children.
Oh, my
Also,
children.
All My
Ah,
Children.
Days of Our Lives was my mom's soap. Sorry, that one
It's
stuck in my
okay.
head.
I have, hold on one second.
You have
I
the
have.
Oh, he's got his Daytime
signed
Emmy Award. Here we go.
what
Oh,
is
it's
it?
funny you say that. I was nominated for an Emmy for
Oh.
Best Young Actor or whatever, Younger Leading Man. And this was the going away card that the cast signed for me. But
Huh.
everybody signed in the same pen that has faded. So
I
you
was gonna
can't
say,
see it.
Did you frame it without opening it?
The
Oh my
only
gosh.
one there, if you look, I don't know if you
Yeah,
can see,
I can see it.
really carefully, you see
Oh,
like some old faded.
This gang's gonna miss you. Oh
Robbie,
man.
Robbie, I
Yeah.
have a friend in the FBI. Maybe he can get some resources where they can take that document and somehow treat it with some chemical where it all pops back up.
Well, here's
That or Batman, maybe. I don't know. Put it through the Bat computer.
here's
Might help out.
the advice I have for all of our podcast listeners, because I have this, which is very special to me.
Yeah.
That everyone signed and it faded. And I also have a poster of a Broadway play that I did that everyone signed, and that has almost faded too.
Oh boy.
Here's my advice. If you have a show thing and you're getting everybody to sign, make sure it's a permanent marker and not a felt tip pen or whatever they use for this.
Oh,
Because-
aw.
Yeah.
The one
Yeah.
signature that's still showing. Can you read? Who is? Do you remember
Yeah.
what person?
Chip. So he was not even a regular of the show. His name was Chip. And he writes, here's what he wrote. Robbie, da sa sa safa, yeah. I'll miss you.
Fudge. That's not
Okay.
even words.
Now,
It's
the
Chip.
reason he wrote that is because Chip and I used to do this bit
Oh my god.
where we would play like cool jazz hipsters from the 50s.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
With the bongos and
yeah, with the
yeah.
bongos.
Like
and
Smithers'
sa- sa-
parents
pa-
on The
pa-
Simpsons,
pa-
right?
pa. Yeah, we did that.
Oh
So
my
that
God,
was
that's
Oh my
hilarious.
so he
That's
did our bit
fantastic.
on the card, which is very funny. But that's the only signature I can read. They're all faded.
Robbie, you should start a fan club up, and then all your fan club people will have that as a saying, as a secret greeting. Da sa sa afaya. Like that. That's how
Yeah.
you meet each other, and
Oh
everyone
my
knows you're
gosh.
part of the Robbie
Like the-
McNeill fan club.
the
Better
secret
than
handshake
secret
sort of
Secret
deal.
code. Secret
Oh
code.
my
I like it.
gosh.
I like
Oh
it.
my goodness. And so then Masters of the Universe, which I grew up on Masters of the Universe, not,
Yeah.
not quite in the style of the film, but I haven't seen that one in a long time. Cameo in the new film. I know they're making one right now. They bringing you back.
Are they filming? Because they keep talking about making one right now.
I thought they
Oh.
had a date next year because I do generally keep
Uh,
track of movies and stuff, and I swear there's a date and it's happening. I don't know. I'll
They
do a little
should
research for
have
you.
Robbie in as a cameo. That'd be
that would be
awesome.
funny.
Yeah.
Me and Courtney Cox could
You
like
guys
just
should walk past like holding
just
some
walk past
popcorn.
and,
It's like,
and
just
ask
walk
for
past camera, like,
directions or
Yeah.
something.
yeah.
Hey, is the Starbucks over here?
yeah.
Oh, thank you, He-Man. Oh, keep going.
Or my character was into music, and we had a music shop in the movie. I don't know if you remember that,
Oh, God,
but I
just
went to
barely.
the music.
Right?
Yeah, because we got the
Oh.
cosmic key, and I didn't know how to play. I was like, "Oh, this is a
Oh, that's
cool
right.
instrument." So we
Yes.
go to the music shop, and Charlie,
Yeah.
the guy that works at the music shop, I'm like, "Do you know how to play this?"
Yeah.
And then all hell breaks loose.
Right.
But
As
we could
does.
walk. Courtney and I could walk by and could say, "Hey, do you know where the music shop is?" or
Yes,
something like that.
that would be
Oh my
so
be
God!
funny.
That would be a
I
nice
have my
little-
fingers crossed. I'll I'll
We
I'll
just
Yeah.
put that
see
in the
what I'll see what I
universe.
can find out.
Put it in the
That'd be
Oh
universe.
funny.
my goodness!
Do the
And then that led you guys together to the beauty that was 7 years
Voyager?
of Star Trek Voyager. I absolutely
Yeah.
love it. It's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Very
All
good
right,
stuff.
so that's your getting started story. Now I'll
Great.
let Peter do some talking because
All right,
I've been
Peter.
running my mouth. So Peter, please.
Bring out the Trek questions now.
Bring out the
Yes.
Trek. All right. Well, I have a Trek question.
All right.
I can't
Robbie,
believe
I've got
it.
one for you. So you're not the only one who's done it, but you had crossed over between TNG and Voyager as two
Yes.
different characters
Yes.
who are very memorable,
Mm-hmm.
but similar enough that there's like talk about how Locarno was perhaps the original version for Paris, but that
And
the
people who
writers
still
weren't.
can't figure it out, like on Lower
I
Decks.
still can't figure it out.
Yeah, and they weren't
I
quite
don't-
sure how to redeem him enough that he would be likable through the show. So did any of your performances as Locarno inform how you played Paris at the beginning, or was that just kind of a
Well,
coincidence?
I'll be honest, like, of course I would make that connection because when they put out the breakdown for casting, they had said something, they had referred to me or that performance. I can't remember. My agent told me exactly,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he's like, this is for you. This is made for
Right.
you.
Yeah.
And so I assumed that it was based on Nick Locarno. And then I asked the writers, Rick Berman and guys, I said, is this going to come out that it's really Nick Locarno or something? And they were like, no, it has nothing to do with Nick Locarno. And I didn't believe them. I just didn't believe that was true. And then I heard this rumor that it was a Writers Guild thing, that whoever wrote the episode with Nick Locarno, they would have to pay a royalty to if they used that
man.
character.
Yeah.
Huh.
So their intentions, honestly, to me, were always cloudy. I wasn't really sure. Were they trying to have this be Nick Locarno, or so? It was kind of confusing. But for my just performing it, I always had this rule in my head that I felt like Nick Locarno, at least in my mind back then, Nick was at his core a bad guy who had a polished and nice exterior. So on the outside looked like a nice guy, on the inside was kind of rotten.
Yeah.
And then I felt like Tom was almost the opposite of that. On the outside came off kind of rotten, but on the inside was a good guy.
Yeah.
And that made sense to me. But then I went back and looked at the Next Gen episode not long ago, a year or two ago sometime.
Yeah.
I looked at it and I was like, Nick Locarno wasn't that bad. He just made a bad choice.
Bad
but
choice.
in the end, he came clean and he took the fall
did,
for
yeah.
the whole team.
Yeah,
did.
that is true. He
So
did,
that-
he
that
did
re-
redemptivize. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of.
So my rule that I lived by for so long, I was like, well, that was a stupid rule. He wasn't a rotten
Yeah.
guy. He was a pretty good guy. So I don't know.
Although when he came back for Lower Decks, I don't know.
Yeah, then he was a
kind of
yeah.
proved you right. a little
Yeah,
bit.
Yeah.
that's
You
true.
kind of
That's
nudged
true.
him. In the animated version of him wasn't such a good guy.
No, bad
Yeah.
guy.
Not with his mystery. I got to go back and knock out some Lower Decks
His
again. I
off-brand
missed that.
Ferengi Genesis device.
Yes.
There's a paywall. I love that.
Speaking of Lower Decks, I
please.
am a huge fan of Robbie's first appearance on there. Season 1 will always have Tom Paris, that episode.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that
Oh.
scene when he sees Boimler covered in that brown goo and he goes, Kazan! And he runs in and tackles him. I fell off of my sofa. I fell onto the ground laughing so hard because
Oh
that
my
to
God.
me was just one of the funniest moments in
Oh my
Lower
God.
Decks. In
Yeah,
season
Lower
1,
Decks,
for sure.
They're so funny. It's Mike McMahon and that whole team.
Yeah.
It's one of my
Comic
probably
genius.
my favorite new Trek. since
Yeah.
that
I think I have to agree with you. I will mention something about the plate. Mission Chicago 2022, the lower decks panel, they were it was like, volunteer to come up on stage. I went up on stage and
yeah.
stood next to Jerry O'Connell and you saw my picture on Trek movie too. I got my picture on the
Oh,
internet.
nice.
Nice.
And we were pumping iron together, and I have that plate signed by the four of them, and
Oh,
I have it in my wife's curio cabinet, safe for my cats. It's just my most prized Trek
Oh,
possession.
that's funny.
I put it down here, but I'm sure it would get destroyed. One of them would wander in here because I don't have a door. But
right.
that you just reminded me of that. I totally forgot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, Garrett. I'm
Yeah.
gonna way back machine
Oh,
you to something you were talking about when I asked you how you got started.
yeah.
I was reading your history, so I was getting ready for this, and you getting rolling with acting and with your parents, like you said, they were like, no, we don't think it's good.
Yeah.
You had to make a deal with them. You had a
Did.
couple of years, and then you faced about every roadblock imaginable to
Yeah.
get rolling, and you finally broke through. What made you stick with it? I mean, that's a tough thing for a young person, without a doubt, to deal with that much adversity and to keep pushing through. What made you do it?
I was just so frustrated with the lack of support from my parents. And I think I kind of had them on my side in the very, very beginning. But then my mom and dad went to Hawaii on vacation, and they're sitting at the airport in Honolulu. And my mom sees Bonnie Franklin from One Day at a Time, the mom, and I used to love that show. I watched that show a lot as a kid. And my mom was like, "Oh my God, it's you, it's Bonnie." And Bonnie's like, "Oh, well, hello." And my mom goes, "My son is trying to go into acting. What advice do you have for him?" And Bonnie looks at my mom and said, "Well, tell your son to get out of the business because he'll never make it. There's no way.
Oh
in
my
hell.
God.
There's
No,
no way in hell he'll ever make
thanks,
it."
Bonnie.
I know,
That's great.
so-
Thanks, Bonnie.
So that's really what cemented the rift between myself and my parents. My mom, in every conversation, would say, "Bonnie says that it's a waste of time."
My good
This
friend
woman you've never
Bonnie.
met.
She took the word of Bonnie as the word of God. It was like literally the
right.
first 5 books
my
of the
gosh.
Bible right there. It was the Torah.
Well,
And
she
like,
was on TV, so
"Oh
there's
my
something
goodness."
to that.
But then, if you think about it, from my mom's standpoint, Bonnie Franklin was literally someone who's been on TV for a long time. Everyone knew who she was. So
Right.
clearly she knows what's right, what has to happen in my life. And so that was the hardest thing to get over was the Bonnie Franklin thing that kept coming up over and over again. So to me, it was a personal, I just said, I don't want this to be the end of my acting career, is this word of God or word of Bonnie thing. And I said, I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to keep sticking to it as long as I can until something happens. And for me, I just felt that in my research on the business of acting, I felt that it was an uphill climb. In 1990, when they did a survey of ethnic backgrounds of actors, less than 1% was cast Asian.
Wow.
Less than one.
Wow.
I think 19% was cast African American. The percentage of African Americans in the country at that time was, and still now, is about 13%. So overrepresentation. So you'll see, for instance, on Baywatch, there were black lifeguards. I've lived in California for many years back in the day, and I've never met a black lifeguard. Right. So wherever, to me, it was like, hey, okay. So for me, I said, you know what? Even though I'm fighting against all odds, they've cast less than 1% of Asian Americans in the roles, Asians in roles in Hollywood. I'm still going to be that 0.08%. I'm going to fit that percent. I'm going to be the best that I can be. And the funny thing is, my parents stopping me from doing it as a profession made me do more theater, more training, more. So it was 5 long years of me completely just honing my skills, so that when I did get an agent, I was off and running, whereas other people just arrived in town from Iowa. You know what I'm saying? And they were like, okay. So I felt I was the creme de la creme of young 20-something actors. Like, I felt like I could outact any other Asian young 20-something actor, and I would go toe-to-toe with anyone that was my contemporary that was Caucasian, which would have been like Ethan Hawke. So I was that confident. I was like, I've got all this behind me. But it was because of the rift. So I have to thank Bonnie Franklin, really, because it's because of her that it
Bonnie,
caused it.
we're thinking of you tonight.
I know. I love you, Bonnie. You're the best.
When you win your Oscar, I hope you
my
thank.
God. I will
Bonnie
thank Bonnie Franklin. I'm gonna say, and
Yeah,
I want to thank Bonnie Franklin for really making my career happen, because that's what it was. And if you look at it at glasses half full, think about it. It is a Bonnie Franklin move.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my gosh.
Pushed you. Sometimes people telling you no,
that you can't do it.
Yeah.
makes you kind of more steadfast. You're like,
100%.
That's
I'm
my
gonna,
wife,
I'm
100%.
Yeah.
That's your
But
wife.
not by
The
me or
reverse
her
psychology
parents,
thing.
same
Yeah.
thing. Same
Oh,
thing, you know.
okay.
Yeah,
In
somebody
her
would tell her
life.
not to
Yeah.
do something.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, it just. I mean, my wife is a software manager, you know, and
Yeah.
achieved that career by all these people, you know, slamming doors in her face. So I
That
just,
Yeah.
knows, those no's serve as like a spark plug to, going towards
Yeah.
the direction of making it a yes. Yeah.
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 Gosh,
The,
that's an awesome story.
Yeah.
That's
to
good
use a
stuff.
Star Trek quote, it's what's the word? The word is no. I am therefore going anyway.
Yeah, that's a good quote.
Nice,
James T.
Peter.
Yes.
That's it from my favorite Star Trek, from Star Trek 3.
I
All
can
right,
sometimes
well,
pull things out.
not bad. I'm gonna let Peter keep talking about Star Trek. I'll do the serious stuff. He'll do the Star Trek stuff.
Sure.
I have some Star
Apparently,
Trek
that's
stuff.
what I've got. So since you've been doing Delta Flyers, you've talked about all of Voyager at this point,
Yeah.
and continued on. But a story that I like whenever I watch behind the scenes stuff or talk to anybody, something that I love to hear about is the shenanigans, because shenanigans always happen.
Yeah.
So, do either of you or both of you have a favorite prank that you managed to commit, or one that you had pulled on you that's just memorable?
Favorite.
Do you remember when I came in the briefing room with that makeup up by my nose? Have we talked about that?
Okay, so
I had had a cold recently or something. We were working. We had a big scene. My first scene of the day maybe was in the briefing room with everybody, and I'm in the makeup trailer getting finished up, and I look over at Scott Wheeler's desk, his station, and the glue that they use to put all the alien prosthetics on is in a jar, and all around the edge of the jar, it's dried glue that's kind of dripped down. And as I'm looking at it, I'm like, it looks like a jar of snot.
Oh, God,
And
no.
and I had this cold recently, and I was like, Scott, can I take some of that dried glue? And can you stick it like coming out of my nose, like just a chunk, and give it make it colorful a little so it just looks nasty? And I'm going to be the last one in the room for rehearsal, and I'll pretend like I don't know. And so I did that. I had the whole
may
the
I
glue.
interject, Robbie, for
Yes,
1
please
second?
do. Please do.
Well, the way I remember it, Robbie and I were talking about how funny it is when you're at lunch with a friend or whatever, when you have food in your teeth, or if you've got something. A lot of times people won't say anything; they'll just let it go. They'll be so embarrassed to say something, and then that's when Robbie saw the glue there, and we both kind of went, "Oh my God, what if we made a fake booger and put it up there and walk Robbie on set?
Don't pretend like you don't know it's there.
Like Robbie's gonna act like it's totally normal, and let's see how many people he comes across that will actually say, "Dude, you gotta take care of that," and see or if they're just gonna be like, "Oh my God!" And sure enough,
how long can
no
you
one
get away
said
with?
anything.
No one said
oh my
a
God.
thing.
They
We went in the
stared at
briefing.
it. They were like, "Oh, hey, Robbie!" Like they would totally pause
Good
and go,
scene today,
"Oh my
Robbie."
God!" And Robbie's like,
Kate.
"Hey!" And this booger is sticking right out of his nose.
Yeah,
It's
it was disgusting.
huge. Oh my God!
But Kate Mulgrew was the one that finally went over and got some tissue from the makeup people and came over, pulled me close to her, and handed me this and said,
Like the mother, that
yes,
she is.
yes, Kate. Kate hands me the tissue.
Such
You
admiration
got something
for
you
Kate.
got to
Oh
take
my
care
God.
of. So
She's so incredible.
That was a great prank.
that was a good one.
Especially since you got everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, they all saw it, but no one said a thing.
Whatever, it's not on me.
Yeah.
The director of photography, no.
Nope.
Great. Good
Craft
prank.
services guy walking by, and
No.
it's not my business.
No, they all saw it. They all paused. It was like, "Hey," Robbie, like, "Hey, what's up?" And they're like, "Hey, Robbie." They would just.
And I was trying to not give them a chance to say.
Right.
So I was talking a lot, and I was really animated, and I was just energetic. I was trying not to give them a moment to say it, to force them to be uncomfortable. It was very fun.
I wish I could have recorded that. If I recorded that, that would have been video gold. Oh my goodness.
Video gold. All right, I've got a Robbie question.
Yes.
Robbie, you are an incredibly accomplished director. That is your full-time gig these days, in addition to doing the Delta Flyer. But you got started during Voyager. Your first episode, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Sacred Ground.
Thank you. Season 3.
Which
And
ruined Garrett's date with the Lisa Gibbons show because I was behind schedule and he was supposed to go meet some girl on the Lisa Gibbons
Lisa
show,
Gibbons show.
which was on the Paramount lot.
Yeah.
And he came up to me, he's
short
like,
trip.
dude, I've got this thing I'm booked to do, and I'm gonna meet this girl or something.
On the show live. Okay, you know what it was? It was comical. I was watching the Lisa show in my trailer, and at the end, it said, "If there's anyone you ever see on the show that you'd like to meet in person, call us." And I was like, "Oh, well, that girl's kind of cute." So I called in, and they booked this whole thing, and it was scheduled to happen during Robbie's directing of Secret Ground. I said,
Yeah.
"Robbie," I said, it's on the same
screw
lot.
this up
I
for
just
me."
got to go over there and do one quick bit. I'll be right back. Is that cool? And Robbie's like, "Dude, you can't do this to me." I said, "This is my first
I'm
time directing.
behind.
I'm behind. You need to stay right here." I was like, "Oh." And so they brought the cameras to my trailer where the girl comes over and gives me a rose or something.
Oh
like
my
that.
God.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Oh
like The
my God.
Bachelor.
They modified it. It was kind of like a Bachelor thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Paramount
That was
fans.
that was
Yeah.
what the first thing that comes to mind on my first directing assignment.
Oh my God.
The most
So-
important stuff, right?
The most important stuff.
Yeah.
Similarly, I think it was the third season of TNG when Jonathan Frakes had his first episode
Oh, wow.
directing something, if I'm not mistaken. So
Oh.
I think about the two of you guys,
There's a
and his career
parallel.
progressing.
Yeah.
It was kind of a parallel. So, and of course you know him because you guys all know each other from all this kind of different stuff. Have you guys ever kind of had any kind of interaction talking about that kind of parallel or track and directing or things of that nature? Just, I'm a big fan of his, thus my appearance. That's what you can
I
guess.
see.
But I was just kind of curious, just because here, another guy who started his directing career doing track, and the same with you. I just wondered if there was any interaction, anything like that comes to mind.
Yeah, I will say about Jonathan Frakes, I owe him my directing start because he was supposed to direct Sacred Ground,
Oh,
and he backed out at the very last minute because he got hired to direct First Contact, the film.
oh God, great flick.
And so I got a call on a Saturday from Rick Berman. Rick said, I know you've been, shadowing, observing, sitting in meetings. You've been working really hard. Are you ready? You think you're ready? And I said, yeah, I think so. And he goes, well, good. You start on Monday. And he said, Frakes is going to do First Contact. He can't do your episode. So that'd be great. So I do owe Frakes that. I will say that I knew Frakes and we had met each other at conventions for years, but I've really gotten to know Jonathan in the last 10 or 12 years. I've really gotten to know him well because I've been a producer on shows, and I was in a position to hire the directors, and I hired Jonathan in 2014, something like that, on a show called Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce.
I remember.
Light comedy drama. And Jonathan came and did an episode and had a blast, and we hung out and we got to know each other for the first time after, kind of knowing each other for 10 or 20 years, but we really got to know each other. And then he did Girlfriend's Guide again. He did The Arrangement. He did The Gifted. All these shows that I produced, I would hire him. And it was at a time when there was no Star Trek going. And I remember Frakes saying to me, like, well, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have a job because you're the only one hiring me right now.
Aw.
So I was bringing him on shows as much as I could. And we got to know each other really well. I got to know his mom, who's rest in peace. She's passed away. But, I think Frakes felt like I was in some ways like his little brother in a lot, because of our careers and just all of it. We got to know each other well. So
I didn't know any of that. We had him and Armin and Kitty
for Pan-Can.
John Billingsley, the Pan-Can guys, earlier this year, and it was a throw of a lifetime because Riker has always been kind of my guy. And of course, I've met Jonathan on the cruise as well, and he'll be there when my wife and I are on the cruise again next year.
Yeah.
So looking forward to see him, and so that's so cool. And when I see him, I will mention this conversation to him because I think it's so super awesome, so cool. All right, I'm going to kick it back to Peter.
Okay, so obviously another Star Trek related question.
Yes.
That seems to be the track I'm on. So Garrett, you were part of one of the first fan films that I watched, of Gods and Men.
Yeah.
And then later you got to be on Star Trek Online. Robbie, I think you were on there too. I remember being super excited when I saw both of you. Like, I think Garrett, you were on there first, and then like it was just like, I get to do this with people I know. So how did that experience compare to being on like stage or a television set, because like in Gods and Men you're playing
Yeah.
a villain, and then
Yeah.
in Star Trek Online you're obviously it's voice acting, so it's a
Mhm.
bit different.
Yeah, I loved them both. Both of those experiences are definitely different from filming Voyager. When you're doing independent film, you know, you're dealing with very limited budget, obviously. And
Yeah.
of Gods and Men, that happened right after the end of Voyager. It was within a few months after the wrap of Voyager. Tim Russ, who directed Star Trek of Gods and Men, called me up and he said, "Hey man, you want to do this independent Star Trek movie?" And I said, "Absolutely not." And he's like, he said, "You'd be playing this character would be completely opposite of Ensign Kim." I said, "Absolutely yes," is what I said after he said that.
I am
So,
into
yeah.
it.
I
Let's
was like,
go.
"I'll do it." Yeah. So that's how it started, and to play that sort of opposite of Harry was wonderful. To play the bad guy in a Trek film. And there were
Yeah.
so many different Trek actors that they used from
It's a
all the
really
different
neat
incarnations.
film,
It's an
yeah.
awesome film,
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
Well written. The script was good. It's just budget wise, we didn't have it. What really sucked was wardrobe. The head of wardrobe bowed out 2 days before principal photography began
jeez.
and didn't produce anything.
Oh,
Didn't leave
no.
anything saying, "Here, this is what I've worked on." Just left.
Wow.
So they
Oh
had
my
to
God.
they had to go through the bargain basement to find, just wardrobe to
Oh,
make
man.
anything work for that one. We
Wow.
filmed in upstate New York in the middle of summer, and it was so hot and oppressive
Yeah.
that everyone lost probably 20 pounds in sweat, in water weight, and just from
Oh,
working
boy.
on that
Was it
show. Yeah.
both the outside stuff and the inside stuff? Was
Everything
that
was
both like horrible?
the inside stuff was horrible. There was no air conditioning. It was in the middle of a Harley Davidson festival as well, so we
Oh,
had to cut
no.
during all the Harleys coming through for sound issues. It was difficult. The online Star Trek Online was wonderful. Doing that job was a dream come true, and I loved it. I loved that whole process of doing just voiceover, not having to worry about what you're wearing or how your hair looks. You just walk in and it's just your voice. So it's great. I love it.
I'd love to get a gig like that. That's my big goal for that's my retirement gig. I want
I've
to go
done
into
it
voice acting.
3 times in a
Oh,
fan
wow.
show. So I
Wow.
Yeah.
did background people for a bit.
Oh.
So the classic Starfleet guy, come with me, sir. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then I was also we had a series of episodes where we did the if you remember the little parasites from TNG season 1, the little bluegill that crawl down your throat and take over your brain.
The shot where they shot the guy and his head exploded.
Yeah, so we
end of TNG season 1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
we
don't
did
think
that,
either
and
of
so
us-
we did this episode that was set on one of their planets, and I played a dissenting little bug. So
Oh, that's always how I think of you, Peter. Dissenting little bug.
I die in the end. So
Oh, all right. It was a
Aw.
heroic death, I'm sure. Oh my gosh. Robbie, I have another directing question.
Yes,
So
sir.
you went through a lot of the great stuff that you've directed. I love The Gifted, by the way. I'm
I
a
just
huge
did. Thank you.
Marvel guy, if you can't tell.
I only did season 2, so
Oh,
I
okay.
don't want to, overclaim that show or underclaim it. I was not a part of season 1, but season 2 was a very different
I
season.
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was by design. They really wanted to kind of revamp and repilot that show, and they
Yeah.
met with some people, and I felt like I was almost doing a pilot that first episode of season 2, because we had
Right.
all new sets and all new storylines and all new sort of
Yeah.
marching orders, and
Excellent.
it was
Good
an
stuff.
opportunity to kind of reshoot a pilot for that show, and
Yeah.
I was really happy. Yeah.
And of course, Chuck was one of your biggest. Resident Alien. Is that show still going on? I've got to dig in and watch more. knowing
Yeah,
that it's
Resident
finally
Alien
wrapped
wrapped up this summer.
Okay.
In August was our
a
series
stitch.
finale aired.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great. It was 4 seasons
Yeah.
of the show, but I worked on it for 5 or 6 years because
Yeah.
of the long hiatuses and
Right.
big time between seasons. But it
Yeah.
was a great experience. Yeah.
That's awesome. So looking at all these, directing, producing, and that story you talked about, Frakes, was absolutely great. Tell me about it's a 2-part question. Tell me
Mhm.
about an absolute favorite standout moment that comes to mind, and then tell me about one that was really challenging that maybe shaped the way that you move forward from that point.
With as far as directing experiences that were
Absolutely.
wow,
Oh man.
there's so
Stumped the
many.
expert.
He's directed a lot.
I know
Right.
there's so
Like, do you
many.
even know how many hours of television you've directed? Do you have that tally now? I mean, in your
It's
back
not as
pocket?
many as you would think, because I produced a lot probably
Oh.
as many or more than I've directed.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
but I don't know. I've probably directed 150 hours or more of television.
Oh,
Directed.
gosh.
I
That's
would say
wild.
it was more than that.
That's what I'm
Wow.
saying. I've probably
Huh.
produced 300 or 400 hours of television.
Right.
Oh, boy.
You know,
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not that many. That may be an exaggeration, but
Yeah.
but anyway, memories, lessons. There's always a lesson. I still love, one of the reasons I love producing is I get to see other directors at work, and I get to see them prep and support them. And they always bring, even new directors that I've never worked with, they bring lessons to me that I try to remember and try to incorporate into my chances when I get to direct again. So I'm always learning things. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I should probably have some good stories about lessons
Uh-oh.
I've learned.
Now I feel bad. Like,
No,
I should have prepped
Well,
you.
here's a lesson. I mean, here's one. It was on Enterprise. I was directing, so early in my directing
Okay.
career, and I had fallen behind. We had been budgeted for 12 hours of filming that day, and we were at about 10 and a half hours or so. We had about an hour and a half left, and we were finishing up the second to last scene. But the last scene was over 2 pages long with 3
Oh,
people.
gosh.
And usually, if you do the math, it's about, page count wise, it's at least an hour per page. So
Oh,
a 2.5,
wow.
3-page scene is 2.5 or 3 hours. We only had a little over an hour left.
Oh, my gosh.
And it was a very important scene because Phlox and Captain Archer and T'Pol are in the scene, and they're kind of figuring out what's happening, and it turns the plot. The scene in the medical lab turns the story in a new direction.
What was the episode? Do you remember?
I don't remember which
Okay.
one. I directed
I
a
thought by saying that I'd be like, I remember the episode now, but I don't. I'm sorry.
Phlox had some information, and then Archer adds to it, and they sort of brainstorm in the medical lab. Anyway, I went to Marvin Rush. I said, Marvin, we've got just over an hour left, and I got nearly 3-page scene, and I had a plan, but there's no way we're going to do this plan in an hour and a half. Help me. And Marvin said, okay, let's look at the scene. And he said, what if you have the actors, you place the different information they're picking up that's adding to the brainstorming, put it in 3 or 4 different spots in the medical lab, and start with Archer coming in, and I'm going to do this handheld, and he'll come in, and I'll whip pan over to Phlox, and then he'll say, I've got an idea, and then we'll just do it as a oneer, and we'll stage them all around, and each of those things that you place around the room, as they move to it, I'll pan down to it and hold on it, and then we'll reset. So you'll have a cutting piece if you need to piece together, edit together a couple different takes. We'll have 2 or 3 places in this oneer, and I do oneer in finger quotes, where we can cut in, but it will have the energy of a oneer. The actors will go through the scene the whole time with just these pauses when they look at this thing or look at that thing. And we were able to do it multiple takes. He lit it as a oneer. The actors played ball. The energy was great, and we got it done in probably with like a few minutes to spare. We had plenty of takes.
Marvin Rush,
and
one of the legends.
Yeah, it was a great lesson in letting go of my plan and going with what is happening. Like, this is reality. We need a new plan, and there's always, I guess the lesson is to everybody, even though you may have great ideas and a great plan, be open to something new happening. Be open to a new experience, a new way of looking at things, because there's a lot of different great ways. There's not just one great way. There's a lot of different great ways.
Fantastic.
Like, just have to pivot.
Yeah, you just have to pivot.
Exactly. Like Ross with the couch. Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is where
oh my goodness.
This is like Ross with the couch. My non sequitur brain, when Robbie started talking about the story, the episode with Dr. Phlox and Archer, and I kept thinking about if there was a transporter accident with Phlox and Archer, like Tuvix being born, it would be Flarcher.
Sure.
Okay, which sounds really bad. If you go the other way, it'd be Archox. Archox would be Archer and Phlox, but Flarcher is even funnier.
I love it.
That's amazing.
I absolutely love it. We're gonna do one last question because Garrett, I know you've got an coming out, and it's Peter, and it's gonna be about Kim.
Okay,
kind of both. So You probably know that there's a new Voyager video game coming out.
What? I do
Across the
not know
Unknown.
that.
Yeah, there's a
Look at that. We're
There
spreading
is.
knowledge.
Surprise.
I knew that, Garrett. You didn't
I
know
didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was,
there's a
it
new
was
Voyager
new
video
in the
game.
last month
Yeah,
or so.
it
Don't worry
lets
about
you play the arcs of the show and make
Yeah.
decisions
Yeah.
and send different people to away teams and such. So now that you know about it, do you plan on playing it? And what crazy decisions might you make? And particularly salient is how quickly will you promote Ensign Kim?
Oh, I will promote him immediately, of course. I
10
would,
seconds.
In 10,
5
within
seconds.
10 seconds. I would, and then I would make it so that Tom turns into the lizard, and so that he's
Oh.
hanging out.
Go back and take
Right.
care of those kids, Tom. It's very responsible.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Go get
I'm
those kids.
excited. That I feel like Voyager's had a bit of a renaissance in the last
I
couple
think
of
so
years.
too.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's nice.
And I think our podcast, The Delta Flyers, has had a little bit to do with that in our tiny
You know,
little
Yeah.
way. I do.
It's a good
I
way of
totally
putting it.
agree. And
Yeah.
how amazing that you led me into my exact segue. I want to wrap up by you guys talking about the Delta Flyers for people who don't know about it. So please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we started in 2020, and Robbie and I just started reviewing Voyager behind the scenes of every Voyager episode chronologically with different guests. And arguably, Robbie's always said that when it's all said and done, the Delta Flyers is the most complete historical document of what happened on Star Trek Voyager.
I think it
with
is.
all the interviews that
Yeah.
we've had. It's so oh my god.
We didn't know what we were doing when we started, and we sort of thought, well, we'll do the free podcast, and we didn't even
Yeah.
have ads or anything.
No.
And so, how are we going to, support this and have it kind of pay for itself? We thought, well, we'll do a Patreon. Well, we should do different levels. Well, every level's
do
got
too.
to have a different,
Yeah.
different,
Thing.
perk.
Commitment, yeah, perk.
Right.
So we started
fulfillment,
saying,
yeah.
well, we'll do cocktail videos, and we'll do
language
you know,
lessons.
language
and,
lessons. And we started adding all these perks.
Yeah.
That meant we weren't just reviewing an episode every week. We were doing guest interviews. We were
Mhm.
doing cocktail videos. We're doing bonus questions. We're
Mm-hmm.
doing, and so we have done. And I say that not to say, oh my God, I wish we didn't do so much. Sometimes it's hard. That's a fact. But I am so glad we did all that because, to Garrett's point,
Mhm.
it is a very detailed historical record of
Yeah.
Voyager.
Yeah.
The guest stars we talked to, the craftspeople that worked behind the scenes on the show, the security guards that guarded the doors. Like
Yeah,
we talked to everybody.
Everybody.
And
Literally. Yeah.
yeah,
It's been amazing. It's an amazing
it's really
journey.
amazing.
And
Absolutely
really,
fantastic. Where do people find the Delta Flyers? They're like, I've never listened to a podcast in my life. Well, they're listening to us, but where do they find you?
Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you can download a podcast, we're on that platform. So
Yeah.
Right.
if they want to check out our Patreon, they can go to patreon.com, just like you guys have a Patreon account. We have a Patreon account as well. So check us out there too. Patreon.com/the Delta Flyers.
Yeah, and then
Totally
at Patreon, you can support the podcast starting at I think $3 or something.
Yeah,
and,
we have a very low. Yeah, we have a
and
very
with
very
perks going, all the way up to monthly Zooms, weekly Zooms with us. We do that as well. We talk to some of our high level fans who we call co-executive producers of our podcast, and we talk to them about the podcast. We talk to them about whatever they want to talk about.
We have a
Right.
$10,000 tier a month where they get to
Right.
live with Robbie. They get to live actually at his
Let's
house.
do
It's
that. We're going to
amazing.
ruin the
Yeah.
house with you
amazing.
and your
Yes,
family.
yes, you
We'll
can
get
live in
that going.
Utah. Yeah. Okay. Just kidding.
There you go.
But
I love it.
Yeah, it's been and the fact that we started it in 2020 during the pandemic, it really helped a lot of people out that
Mhm.
didn't
Yeah.
know what to do with their lives when the pandemic
Right.
shut
God.
down. And
I
honestly,
remember.
I wasn't even thinking of it. It was Megan, my partner, that said it's time to do that thing that you've talked about for so long, of going behind the scenes and talking about every single Voyager episode, and
Yeah.
it was her that said, you got to have a co-host and it has to be Robbie. And I was like, oh geez. And the funny thing, my first answer was this: that's a great choice, but Robbie would never agree to this because he's so busy as a director. And because the pandemic had started, Megan said, he's not busy now. And I said, you're right. He's not doing
Nobody's
shit.
busy right now.
And the thing is, my mind was always, Robbie's always on the go, directing everything. I had forgotten that the pandemic shot him down as well. My
Yeah.
brain was still thinking, Robbie's never going to have time to do this. Not in a million years. And
But we've worked it out even when I do go back to work,
Yeah,
and
it's a juggling act.
we figure it out. It's
Yeah.
got a lot of flexibility, and
Mhm.
and I think we've brought Armin Shimmerman and Terry
Yeah.
Farrell from DS9. We're into DS9 episodes now.
Mhm.
Right.
We interviewed Jonathan West for one of our Patreon
Oh my God,
bonus
that was
features
so
today.
good.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Jonathan West was in tears with us in the conversations we had.
Oh.
Wow.
It was so wonderful.
It
And
was.
Jonathan said to us, I can't believe this. He said, I've never been asked to do an interview about DS9.
Wow.
Really?
We were the
What?
first ones, and we talked to him for over 2 hours.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
a really incredible, meaningful conversation. That's the kind of thing I love about our podcast is
I got to jump back in. I would admit I kind of rotate Patrons. I may have rotated away from yours. Don't
that's
kill
all
me.
right.
But I think
We
it's
get
time
it.
for me to rotate back. But I absolutely love your guys' stuff. And I will let you go because I know that we had a heart out here. But you guys, my
Thank
God,
you.
this has been tremendous.
Thank you.
And patrons, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching this on our YouTube or you're listening to this on our free feed, please visit patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. We've got a lot of great Star Trek interviews there for you to enjoy, plus a lot of things, Marvel, DC Comics, so on and so forth. Our guests have been Garrett Wang
Oh my gosh.
and Robert Duncan McNeill. And we'll see
Robert
you in the
Duncan.
future, guys.
McNeill.
Thank you so much.
It's
McNeill.
hard.
With a-
McNeill.
It's really
McNeill.
hard. We also have a website, just the last one,
Please.
thedeltaflyers.org, O-R-G. You can actually listen to any episodes there
Oh
as well.
yeah,
if you
go to
can't
our
get onto a
website. You can
podcast.
listen
Go
to
our
all of
website.
them there. You can look at our merch. You can
Yeah.
check out cool stuff. So
Exactly.
I do. Awesome. All right.
thank you.
Bye-bye, you guys.
So
So
fun.
much.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.